Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with you have to be #1 all-time returning guest, Richard Fairgray, the one and the only. We're here to break down buoyancy and everything in between. Richard, what the hell's been up, my friend?
I mean, I don't know. How long has it been since we last did one of these?
I want to say probably a couple months ago, like 2-3 months ago. I remember you wanted to do a launch, and it's like the day my daughter was getting born. I'm like, hey man, normally I would make an exception.
That's right.
I think it's gonna be a little bit choppy at the.
No, you made your choice. I understand. So okay, hang on. Let me just think this through, because I know that I didn't come on for Get My Head Straight, because that's the one that you're in, where it's a fake version of this.
Campfire.
Oh yeah, I was on for Campfire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sick. Okay, that actually bodes well, because that was like my biggest launch of the year. And so far, today's one is the slowest launch of the year, because I think that people are looking at it thinking it must be like a kid's book because of how cartoony the cover is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people do not want kids' books from me anymore. So let's just like bring that heat.
Let's bring that fucking heat.
Just get a picture of the kid, the main character, just yelling "fuck." See if that fixes it.
You know, I remember. We were talking backstage, and you made a mention that this is older, and I remember this title coming up in talks before. Mm-hmm. Buoyancy. Yeah. I mean, boy in sea. Like, it's such a clever name. Is that like, that has to be a name of a boat, right? Like, is it
that's what it was. So it was my friend Eddie back in 2015 said to me casually, "Hey, what would you, if you were like a young billionaire, what would you call your boat?" And I just immediately said buoyancy, and
clever. And
it just kind of stuck. And then, like, I think maybe 3 weeks after that, I would have started. Like, I was just like, fuck it, I got to use the title for. And like, there's like a whole complicated like backstory to why this book exists that is like weirdly dark. Even, I mean, not even for me. It's shit that I've been very public about, but yeah, it's been a really weird one to revisit, because this is the last book that I made in New Zealand, and it's the only one. It was like right after I'd shut down Square Planet Comics, mm-hmm. and right before I moved to the US, and then like Blastosaurus picked up here and Black Sand Beach and all that stuff, and then I got into the Richard Zuck stuff, and this one just kind of fell through the cracks, you know. So kind of exciting to have it back, but also like terrifying to look back at it. Like I really even the version I sent you, I haven't done the work yet on it, but there are like a couple of spelling errors and like a couple of tails on balloons that go in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. And it literally is because I have not been able to bring myself to look at the book in any like intensely detailed way until now. So this is kind of, it's another one of these things of me like forcing my own hand.
Man, it's really, really interesting though that this book is, what you said, a decade old, and how much it serves as a testament to just how much you've probably improved as a creator. You know, you're noticing those little flaws that, you know, previously, you know, like working maybe last week or even a few days ago. This dude's a workhorse. If you have not met Richard, this guy pumps out a book like every month. It's you know, sort of has to stand almost as a testament. And I will tell you this, I read this book. I had the opportunity to check out it's 33 pages.
Yep.
So I had the chance to read it, and it felt, I mean, I was surprised when you told me you wrote it 10 years ago. Your humor, your like the way you think, you know, it felt like so recent. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm almost mind blown.
It's a really strange book for me. So like, I'm just going to be like cards on the table here. Tomorrow is the 10-year anniversary of the last time I tried to kill myself, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been like very open with that in various other books. And the way I did it was that I attempted to steal a boat to disappear at sea, because I was a 30-year-old asshole who thought that things had to be sort of cinematic when you did them. And this is the book that I made, that I started working on about 4 days after that failed. And like since then, I've gotten very comfortable being like living very, I don't want to say living publicly, because it's not like I'm a fucking big famo or whatever, but like living without consideration of what needs to be kept private or to myself. Like I am an open book, right? As much as I can be, or as much as that won't be boring to people. And so those kind of stories have really, that like the truth of that situation has been covered. But this is a book about a 6-year-old, or I think he's 6 3/4, who has like faced all of the great obstacles that he thinks he should face in his hero's journey, because like myself, he read some Joseph Campbell when he was far too young. And so he is desperately trying to see if there's like any other adventure out there, and his only logical solution is to steal a boat and take to the sea. My thing wouldn't have been an adventure, it would have been an ending, and the point of his is for it to be like the start of a new story. And so like that's why I haven't revisited it. You know, it was just like it's been available digitally in various bundles and things over the years, but like I was just terrified that it would be either like, I think, you know, honestly, I think the thing that terrified me was that it was bad. And like that, because you know, when you go through something, any kind of like major breakup, major trauma, whatever, you absolutely get into this mind space where like the thing you are creating at that time has to be the rawest and most vulnerable thing, and therefore the best. Like you know, you've had that thought of like, I'm writing my masterpiece, this is going to be my hit song, this is the one, whatever. And then with distance, it's always that stuff that you hide away from and don't look back on. And I just realized I was coming up on the 10-year thing, that it was going to be now or never. And so I read actually, like, it took me a long time to even find it. I found like a low res PDF and read it, and I was like, oh, actually this is kind of sick, like this really works. There's some stuff that I would tweak now, and I'm going to be tweaking it for the actual release. But it's like there's a reference to a movie that I would switch out for a different movie, because I think not because I don't like the movie there's a moment in it where he talks about the film Real Genius, and I love that movie very dearly, but I also think that other people have talked about Real Genius as a classic example of the hero's journey too much, and so I need to like just change that. Like it's those kind of changes that I would make. And yeah, like it's comforting to know that 10 years ago I was still good at comics.
I really loved how much of this are we able to, like, I guess, talk about without it being too much of a spoiler?
I think you can't reveal the big thing, and you know what the big reveal is, and I think it's too good. Yeah, and I know it's hard to talk about without that, because obviously it happens on page 10, and then it becomes like the driving fucking force of the narrative. So sorry.
No, that you're fine. Why choose a child to tell this story?
I think because I think it's funnier. I think that, like, you know, a middle-aged man going on a fucking quest to have adventures is just quite sad, actually.
Kind of depressing.
Yeah, like I mean, we all know that person, and we don't want to be that person, and I don't want to read about that
He's
person.
me.
But like, it's all of us, right? Like, I mean, how many of us, you know, that moment in Juno when the Jason Bateman character is broken up with what's her nuts, and is like, he like just reveals that he lives in a cool loft now, and I'm like, of course you do. Like, yeah, dude, that's not funny or interesting, but like a kid who is 6 3/4, who is like too smart for his own good, just setting out with this way where it isn't like a desperate need, it's like a wide-eyed, innocent need to live a meaningful life and to have stories. And it means that he's like, it means he's not clinging to adventure, he's running into adventure. And I think that's just like a way more fun space to be in.
And you know, we kind of like touched base upon it earlier. It might look like it's a kid's book, but it is definitely not a kid's book. The child, I think, is more like a vessel to move the story. The dialogue is very much so adult, you know, the philosophy in it, the deep critical thinking. That's kind of been one of my favorite things about your writing. You can have some of the most off the wall interiors I've ever seen. I remember the first interview we've ever had. My mom was watching. We were talking about a wall of glory holes, and but it always has like such a deep, deep meaning. What would you say buoyancy would be for like the average reader, like their takeaway? What would you hope their takeaway would be from this?
I want it to feel like something they remember and wish there was more of. Like it is written like a pilot episode almost, where at not no, I mean this is kind of obvious, but like so it's not really a spoiler. By the end of it, it is two people setting off on a big adventure, and it like enough has been established that like the rules of reality are pretty fucking fluid here, and like they are just going to sea, and the sea represents everything and everywhere and every time, and like I want people to think about this issue and then like imagine what it would be like if like what happens when the ship like rocks up on the shore of like I don't know the 1930s. What happens when they're fighting dinosaurs? What happens when there's like what happens when the ship goes to space? What happens when the sea happens to be space? Like it can be all of these things, and I want it to feel like the start of like a huge possibility where you don't need to know what the actual stories are because it's better to think of them for yourself. It's better to wonder what he's up to.
And one thing I've always really loved is just your art in general. You have a very distinctive style, but you're able to stretch that style to fit different types of stories. And this one is no exception. I love the character design. I love the picture of John Carpenter too. You have like this kind of like really like I wouldn't say simplified artwork.
Just Joseph Campbell, not John Carpenter.
Why did I say John Carpenter?
Well, same initials.
Yeah, I need a little bit more coffee. But I just loved how like extremely detailed that portrait was, and then like you have like this like simplified like art, and then it's just this ultra realistic picture, and I love like the contrast between the two.
Yeah, and like that's one of my favorite jokes in it. I remembered that wrong when I went back to revisit it because I was like, this is the most up my own ass bullshit imaginable. And again, here's a bit of a spoiler. Like there's a moment where he looks at the map of the world and tears it down because he doesn't need a map of what the world already is, and then instead puts up a giant poster of Joseph Campbell. Yeah. And like that is his roadmap, and I think that like that's very funny and like very on the nose. But I was like, did I really just do that and never say who the fuck? Like, did I expect my readers to recognize my goddamn drawing of Joseph Campbell? And I'm like, no, he does say it. It's okay. It's in the text. But, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, everyone knows who that is. It'll be fine. Everyone remembers the power of myth. Everyone remembers all the things that I think are major cultural touchstones. This is like the other day I was talking about the show Turbo Teen with someone, and they were like, Richard, this sounds like a fucking fever dream. I'm like, no, he turned into a car. The boy turned into a car when he ate spicy food. Like that's
that would be really inconvenient.
I've misremembered that. There's two things where someone turns into a car. One of them is when he eats spicy food, and one of them isn't. And I can't remember which one's which now. Which is I watched all of Turbo Teen just like 5 years ago when I was in a like COVID quarantine in a quarantine hotel for COVID when I was traveling, and I was like, this is the day to watch James Bond Jr. and Turbo Teen, the things that I can talk about with the normal people in the world.
So buoyancy, an action comedy. I loved the just the direction this story goes. What was your reasoning for choosing the sea? I mean, I know like it's kind of based around a real life event, which by the way, Richard, we're grateful to have you here today. For as as much as that means, you've been a really big part of my life, a big help to my life. I was just thinking this during our chat, like I need to put together a fucking like Richard lore like collage of all of our interviews, because dude, you could piece together parts of your life like through our interviews. Like you were talking about the boat, like we've talked about that before, and I'm like, dude, that'd be so cool to have like a Richard Chronicles.
Well, it's like whenever I'm doing memoir stuff, I want it to feel like I never want to tell a story in a straight line. I want people to feel like they're like diving into something, and like every direction they turn, they're picking up some new piece of information. And so like you're cataloging it in your short-term memory, and some parts go to long-term, and then some parts you get reminded of. And like, not to sound gross, but I want people to like read my stuff and feel like they're swimming in a sea of me, you know?
I mean,
And that
giggity,
does
right?
it does sound gross. That does sound really gross, and I do understand it. But if you just stop, if you get your fucking minds out of the gutter, you know, it could be my blood. It doesn't have to be piss or jizz, you know? That was you. That was you who thought of that.
You know, I love how
How I
right now
blamed you.
yeah, right now you're just doing like a whole month of just drawing different dicks, and you're like, hey audience who follows me, get your minds out of the gutter. I know you love the dicks, but get your minds out of the gutter.
Well, so here's the thing with my dick drawings. One, I want people, as I've said for many years, I want people to have dick pics they could actually be proud of. And two, like, I am drawing beautiful dicks. I'm really good at them, and I want them to be like, everyone draws dicks as either goofy or scary, and I want to draw dicks that are just beautiful in the middle.
Hmm.
Like I draw them with love, and I draw them in a way that they're the kind of dicks you want to give a hug.
Yeah, yeah. The
Again,
kind of dick you want
I
to take home to meet mom and dad. I get it.
exactly. And like I'm you know, like the number of what's really great about the dick drawing stuff is how many people will like show up at my booth at a convention, and like college age kids are there with their parents and encouraging their parents to buy a dick from me. Like nothing makes me happier than the moment I heard a like 22-year-old guy say, "Oh, go on, dad, get one with a cum shot." Like it's fucking magical.
Not bad at all. Everyone that is watching, right there is the link. If you're able to back, we would love to see that. Putting this on Facebook, Twitter, Blueski, anywhere you can. Word of mouth is 100% free. Helps out a ton. So just share that link if you're not able to back. Buoyancy action life comedy about life at sea. When you realize there's nothing left to do on land, the only adventure that makes sense is stealing a big ass boat. And I don't know if that's just like the hell yeah in us. Stealing a boat just sounds like so much fun. FBI, if you're watching, I haven't yet, but I may.
Yeah, as again, I have attempted boat theft. I was just very bad at it.
Is that GTA or is that BTA?
You know, it would be neither. Well, it would be neither of those things, Cody, because the G does not stand for car.
More coffee it is. GTB.
Doing well there?
All right. Hey. Sometimes those transitions, sometimes they stick, sometimes they float. But they never sink. All right. So, hey, free book for the first 50 physical backers. We love these mini comics. It's a whole series. And this time, for the first time outside of New Zealand, the first issue of Ghost is back in print.
Mm-hmm.
How many pages is this bad boy going to be?
All these mini comics are just little 8-page mini comic things. It's a whole like. Before I even made Buoyancy, my buddy Theo and I decided it was like right around the time that the DC were doing the 52 when it was like weekly. They did like whichever version of New 52 or whatever that was. And we jokingly said, yeah, but DC probably have like at least 5 or 6 people there, and there's only 2 of us. I bet we could do this too. And so without slowing down on any of our other stuff, we put out 52 books in a year. And the plan was that we would like make it a big public project and print every issue and have a new issue out every week and distribute it across like stores, and it'll be a whole thing. And we did none of that. We just made the comics. And we still put out all our other books that year. So I think like between the two of us, I think we had 81 books out in 13 and 14. And so I decided like, fuck it. I want these to be in print. I love this little format. And you know, like, let's just go for it. So the only way to get them is to be one of the first 50 backers. This is the 6th one I'm doing. There's the original 52, and then I've thrown in all 12 Ghost issues as well. And so that'll make up the 64. I did 5 of them last year as giveaways with different campaigns, and then there was a little bit of a supply chain issue with getting the right paper for the cover stock, but that is all sorted now, and I have just invested a stupid amount of capital in printing the other 59 titles. So they're all there in a big ass stack of boxes, and yeah, I think like the only way to get these is to do this. I mean, I'm sure I'll figure out some way later to do a collected volume of something, but like, if you want the actual physical issue, single issue collectible one, be one of the first 50 backers. And sorry if you missed out on the previous 5. Welcome to the party.
So tell us a little bit about Buoyancy. I mean, the format of this is going to be different than your traditional comic book. What can backers expect when they pick this up?
So it's landscape format. It is digest size, and it opens with a 4-panel comic strip, because I wanted this. I want this to feel like old school cartooning, where, like, if you think about Calvin and Hobbes, or if you think about like when Bone started out, it was originally a comic strip. These kind of cartoony things that are really like hemmed in, but the best one is always the Sunday strip. And so my thought was, what if there was only one strip and the rest of it felt like Sunday? What if the whole book was just one giant fucking adventure? And so you get the 4-panel thing to introduce it, where he just announces to his parents that he's leaving because he's fed up with his like boring life, and he says he's going to steal a boat, and then you turn to page 2 and he fucking has. And it's as simple as that,
And I love just the design of the ship, the water. What made you choose this type of boat?
I wanted it to be simple enough that it could be like the platonic ideal of a ship. But I also wanted it to be big enough that like it would be plausible that he could wander around this ship and find shit forever. Like, who knows what is below deck? Who knows what rooms are down there? Who knows? Like, I mean, why not have a time machine? Why not have a rocket ship that can fold up out of the boards? Like it's all in there somewhere.
And I also love to like just the paneling right here, where there's not like a white background. It's actually just the sea. Like the way your paneling has always been is just always, I wouldn't even know where to script that as an idea. Like just some of the ways you layer this, and we can't spoil it, but there's so much insane stuff that happens like in just a few pages within the story, and it's such a cool thing. I can't wait to talk to you backstage about it. I can't believe I didn't remember to talk to you beforehand. But the way you layer things is just phenomenal, and it connects too. That's the beauty of it. Sometimes you'll see something and it's just like drawn to be drawn, but your artwork always has a purpose, and the eagle eye reader will always notice like these little tidbits in the background.
Yeah. And like I don't want to disappoint anyone. I don't want anyone to think that I don't know this. When people read this and see what the big thing is that we're talking about, yes, it is an homage to the show you were thinking of. Absolutely it is. It is like, because that was a big crush of mine when I was the age that this boy was. And so yes, it is sort of in reference to that. The difference is he really is, as opposed to that guy who definitely wasn't, and that was sort of the joke. And that's all I can say, but people who know will know.
When designing this character, I always have felt when people design children in like a comic, either they hit it or it's really off. What inspiration did you use to come up with this character?
I wanted him to look a little bit smug, but I wanted to give him enough like simplicity in his face that the smugness could be just like cut away by everything falling apart. So he's got like a lot of space below his mouth for it to just go when things go wrong. And he has these like very simple, like his eyes can scrunch up, they can go big. That's it. The hairline can stay in one place, or it can like be swept back. He always, I just want him to look like he cuts a good silhouette, and every single part of his face can move around to suit the mood.
And then right here too, cover C. When I first seen this, I was very questionable about some of this stuff. I was like, oh my god, is this just like a collage of crazy looking peens? But It's I can't wait to see this. This is awesome. When are you revealing this?
I will not be.
Oh, you know.
No, I will, because it is the spoiler. That is the big thing. That is
That's
the
true.
spoiler for the
Okay,
book.
yeah.
So I will only be printing exactly as many as are ordered through the Kickstarter. This cover will never be on my table at conventions. It will never be in stores. It will not be included with the digital edition. This is the only way to see this cover is to buy this cover.
That's it. That's awesome. I love that. So for anyone out there who is looking for a mysterious cover, pick this up. It sounds like one of the only times you'll be able to even see this thing. I loved it. I love it. We're not going to talk too much about it. I talked to you before stage, but I just loved everything about it. Let's go ahead and check out the rewards. For everyone that is watching, there is the link in chat. Be sure to check it out with us if you're able to back. We would love to see that. So you can pick up a digital copy of this for just $7. A 30-page comic plus all the backup material, including an essay about the ripple effect this comic had on Richard moving forward. You can get the physical copy of this cover A for $20. I really loved cover A, but cover B is so cool. Just him walking headfirst into it. Get this cover for $20 as well. And you know, there's something buoyancy. I love the dad joke of it. I was looking at something about boats with dad jokes, and it's like unsinkable #2, pure pressure. So, dude, you'd be a perfect like boat captain. I feel.
I really think I would. You know, I think I would do. But like, here's the thing. I always think that kind of hat would suit me, and I know that it wouldn't. Like every time I put on one of I like to think that I'm the skipper, but I think deep down I know I'm Gilligan. And that's just like not a good place to be visually with hats. It's a very simple campaign this time. Like you can get the book, you can get different covers, or you can get my big ass collection of digital shit
for $70. And this is like a ton of pages.
I'm losing track.
It's almost 1,600.
Well, I keep doing that thing where I copy and paste the reward from the previous campaign. I think it's closer to 2,000. It might even be over 2,000 pages at this point, because it is everything from the past 2.5 years.
That is insane. And of course, all three covers for $50. So cover A, cover B, and that mysterious cover C. Pretty big bang for your buck. That Richard Sucks digitally for 70. I mean, over 1,700 pages of books. And these are some of the most like touching and insane stories you will read. That's one of my favorite parts about, you know, reading the books you put out. It's just like, I never know what I'm going to expect, and that's like one of my favorite parts. Like, I think that's really hard to capture as a creator, and I think you nail it so perfect.
It's really fun as well, like to, you know, obviously there are similar themes across a lot of my books. A lot of these things are about friendship. A lot of these things are about like finding meaning in life, and a lot of my work is me just challenging myself to see like how far I can push the actual physical limitations of a comic page. But like, you know, this year I've done Haunted Hill 4, which is like the finale for that series, but like wild surrealist soap opera, and like incredibly talky, but with like batshit crazy stuff going on with ghosts and everything. I've done 6 of these little 100-page horror things that I'm doing, which are absolutely just designed to like punch you in the gut. There's no other thing to them. It's just, I want the feeling to be when you've read it. Campfire is 6 different ghost stories, and then like I'm working at the moment. I'm working on a thing called Oops All Richards, which was meant to be a 20-page collection of 3 memoir pieces from other anthologies. And then I was like, no, but I'll write a new like 8-page piece to wrap around with it. And then some like wild shit went down in my life, and I was like, well, I should probably incorporate that somehow into this. And now it's like this sprawling, I think it's going to be like an 80-page narrative that wraps around these 3 short pieces.
Wow.
So my usual thing of like, I can make my life easier by doing a reprint of other stuff. And then I'm like, or add 80 fucking pages to it, because why not? And like, even then within that, I'm finishing off the first chapter of it at the moment. And there's a moment in it where it's Ray and I are like out of our minds on these mushrooms that we were given by a fan of mine at Comic-Con. And I decided it would be a good idea for us to take the train out of Hollywood to go downtown, and then I started freaking out that every train station we arrived at was fake. And I became convinced that Ray was working against me to get me away from Hollywood because he wants me to be in Canada all the time. Um, and so there's this moment in it where, and this is what really happened, unfortunately, but there's this moment in it where like we're waiting at a train station to take the train back the other way,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed 72 things that were wrong with that train station that absolutely proved that it was fake. And when I'm putting it together as the comic, I get to page 7, and like page 6 ends with me like saying that. I was like, I should really show that though, shouldn't I? Like I should show what those 72 things are. And so then I do this 72 panel page where I drew, I mean, some of the panels are filled with Ray and I, but like every panel is something from the real world, from the real train station that I was at. And then when I penciled it real and then inked it wrong. So like Pepsi, like Coke cans with the word Pepsi written over the ribbon device, or like signs for the wrong transit system, or like the wrong kind of lighting, or the wrong kind of screws, or like a rat who has 3 teeth. Just like all, and suddenly this thing means like, well, okay, well, if I've done that, I kind of need to go a little bit more buck wild with it. So instead of it ending at page 8, I now introduce this whole thing where as we leave that train station, which definitely was fake, by the way, like it had to be, right? The entire train station collapses behind us as all of the like tape and glue and string that was holding it together falls apart. And so like I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna have time to finish this book, but it's fun. It's this like living, breathing object until it's in print. The book can be anything.
Yeah.
And I think again that all wraps around to like what was so terrifying about this one is that like this buoyancy became an object that I was scared of because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was in that file, and like it's really it's a huge relief to know that it's a good comic that I made a long time ago. And it also like there's so much stuff in it where I'm like, oh, I had no idea I've been doing this thing for this long, or I had no idea I'd been like telling these kind of stories or like these kind of jokes. There are little jokes in it that I have done other versions of later, and there's all these other things where I do not remember doing it all, that I they don't even feel like me. They feel like I'm delighted to read it, which is fun. There's very, very few of my books I can feel that way about, like because it was such a I wrote and drew this right after the suicide attempt and in the process of moving to America and Canada at the same time from New Zealand. So like my life was not a disaster. Like everything was great, but I was just like moving so fast. And I can think back to like shit that I drew when I was 14, and I could tell you panel by panel what happens in it for a 64-page book. That's what my cool normal brain does. But this one was just like this void, and that's exciting.
I just love how your mind works. I think that's like what makes this part of interviewing always so much fun. Anytime anyone wants to see a video to see what I'm like as an interviewer, I always recommend a Richard interview, because it's like at my core like what I really love about keeping it geekly, and that's like being able to just to keep it real with people, like chum it up about books, but like get to the root of who a creator is and why they create and what their purpose is in creation. And I was just chatting about it last night. Like I have such an itch in my mind to learn and to like fully like immerse myself in this stuff, and it's like just talking about this stuff just like scratches that itch perfectly. And Richard, I think after that, we're coming up on wrapping up the show, and I have the perfect question lined up for you. For someone out there who wants to really just push themselves, we'll kind of keep it simple, but we'll keep it nice and sweet too. For someone out there who wants to just really push themselves as a creator, maybe step onto something that's a little bit uncertain for them, and they just really want to push themselves into it, embrace, that change. What would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
Well, I wouldn't recommend boat theft.
BTA.
Um, you know, I have this joke. Scott McCloud always says, "Write as if everyone you know is dead," and so I always think of just like my spending the rest of my days just writing obituaries for everyone I've ever known. But it is really good advice. Like there's so much stuff in the world that here's a harsh truth, okay? Your friends and family aren't going to read your stuff. Like they're just not. Your friends and family will buy your books if you're lucky, but they probably won't read them. Like, you know, the hardest thing in the entire world is getting someone you know to actually look at your work, right?
Yep.
So stop fucking worrying that your mom's gonna find out that you rimmed someone, you know? Just like, it's fine.
But be prepared though, just in case.
Yeah. I mean, like someone said to me the other day, they're like, "Are you worried about the amount of crime you put in your stories?" I'm like, no, no, because like it's a book, and of course it's true, but it's also like maybe it's not. I could say it's not. I could lie. I could say it's fictional. You know, it's like the podcast interviews can't be used as evidence against someone in court because the nature of podcasting is people are in a persona, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can say whatever we want, and it's great. It's really good news, and I'm sure that'll bite me in the ass at some point. Bank robbery, target thefts, like, you know. But just fucking do it. Everyone knows you rimmed that person. Just put it in a comic book. Don't put it on the cover. You still want to make sales?
Yeah.
I put one rim job on a cover of a comic once, and people hated it.
One rim job.
I have a cover that for another publisher, and it's I'm so proud of it. It's one of the coolest looking fucking things I've ever done. But it is the main character just standing naked with the word cunt projected over and over and over and over again on their body. And the publisher was just like, no, like where do you think we can put that? I'm like, variant cover, put it on a variant cover on Kickstarter. They're like, how do you think what do you think people want when they look at things? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
They want this, obviously.
Yeah. They want my. I'm in the process of buying like multiple old televisions because I want to do a cover that will be for a wildly unpopular book that is I'm gonna draw the panels of different versions of me kicking the shit out of me from different angles, so it looks like security footage from all over a train station.
That's so cool.
Then I want to project those, like put them, you know, upload them onto whatever, and put them onto the TV screens. So then you're seeing them on these curved screens with all the lines in them. So it's security footage of comics. Stack the TVs all up so it's like someone's obsessively looking at me. That will sell 12 copies. It'll sell 12 fucking copies, and an old TV costs hundreds of dollars. And then I'm stuck with an old TV. Like, what am I doing? Don't live like me.
I mean, dude, the ex-wife's of Frankenstein, like the way you want to about creating those covers, like,
yeah, but now
so next level.
Now I don't have a kitchen in my office because I clogged the sink with glue and paint making those, and like I had to I've got like 4 shelves that are just completely filled with these giant ass paper mache things because I'm like, well, it's art. It's not art. It's a piece of something.
Maybe I'll use these again someday. Who knows? Like
you know, the one that has the 2 cell phones on it, the hands holding the cell phones. Those are real working functional cell phones that weren't they weren't like my old phones. They were like, I know I need to use phones for this, so I just glued them into this fucking thing. And then I was like, because my thought was, well, I have a camera, I don't need to take the picture with my phone. So I had to buy a new phone.
Richard, you notoriously have been on a rampage to see as many movies as possible. Check out the last interview for the lore on that. Like I said, we need to do like a Richard Chronicles. What have you been up to outside of creating? You know, what would you say your favorite movie's been so far?
So far in my entire life?
No, just so far, like recent, maybe in the last couple of months that you've seen.
Well, I just saw my 150th film in theaters for the year. House of Dynamite's pretty good. It's worth seeing on a big screen. It's a film where you come away from it being like, yeah, I know. Like, yeah, everything sucks and we are in a house of dynamite, and I know, but also what a fun thrill ride.
Hmm.
Um, if I had legs, I'd kick you. Absolutely fucking rips dick. It is so, so, so good. It is, like, look, it's not a film for me. It is about the difficulty of motherhood, and I fucking loved it.
Hmm.
Um, and it has a messy, complicated end that I think is going to annoy a lot of people who want to be, like publicly looking like good people about things. And I think that people who actually have any understanding of the experience are going to go, yeah, no, it's like that. Fuck off. Blue Moon is fantastic. There are 2 Richard Linklater films out like at the moment. Nouvelle Vague is fine, but again, it's another exercise in like, fine, he did it, but so what? It's a tornado can blow a nail into a tree, but why bother? But Blue Moon is just about being jealous of your former friend's success,
Hmm.
and it's fantastic. So those are like the 2 things I've seen this past week that I've loved the most.
I'm gonna have to check that out. It's been a while since I've been able to hit the movies. Surprisingly enough, moviegoers do not want, like a 3-4 month old baby watching the movie with you. Who would have thought? I don't know.
I agree. I don't want that. Look, I won't even go to a movie like I went to a movie theater the other day and the seats were comfortable. I was like, I'm never coming back here.
I'm never coming back. This
Because
sucks.
this is going to encourage people to act like they're in their fucking living rooms and they're going to talk. This is not going to be acceptable. Like, I'm having to see, there's a film screening today at like a lot of convenient times at a movie theater that is connected to a theme park. I'm not going to go there. So instead, I have to go to see it at like 10:45 tonight when I have to be up at 4 a.m. tomorrow because the only other place it's playing is there.
Ridiculous.
How dare they?
Yeah, how dare they provide entertainment to children? Not on my watch.
No. It's not entertainment to children. That's not my issue. Is not with children. If I go to a kid film and there are kids there, absolutely. Like, I know what I'm getting myself into. Like, when I go see, there was a rep screening of Nightmare Before Christmas, and I went to see it, and like there were just children running around and like, I don't know, like vomiting snot everywhere or whatever they do. And of course, that's what you expected. But like, if I go to a movie for grown-ups and there are grown-ups there who, because they're in a recliner, feel like they can talk to their friends, that's not okay.
What about the ones with beds too? It's like, what's happening.
That's I'm not even aware of this. There are theaters with beds.
It might have been a meme. Maybe maybe I'm hitting that boomer status where I just see stuff and I'm like, you know what? That's probably real.
I remember I saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in a beanbag theater, which meant that everyone was constantly like rustling in their fucking.
Oh God.
And then the thing caught on fire, and so I've never seen the last like 30 minutes of it.
There's also the thing like the long walk or whatever. People had to walk on a treadmill to watch it, and if they like stopped, they got kicked out of the theater.
That's good. I liked that movie actually. I thought it was pretty good.
No, I'm gonna have to check that out. But Richard, I do have to cut it short.
Yeah.
I got an army of kids. They're all ready to run out and do vomit snot as children do.
What I want you to do is I want you to take all. Is it 7 children?
7.
And just go to find a screening of like One Battle After Another that is playing in VistaVision, where people have lined up for days to get into it. Like there's 10 theaters showing in VistaVision across the country. Okay, find one of those, take all 7 children to it, but I want you to give them like a lot of Fanta first.
Dude, and have them just vomit snot everywhere.
Vomit snot everywhere.
Vomit snot. Well, everyone that is watching, here is the link to check out this campaign. Be sure to back if you're able to. Put this on Facebook, Twitter. Word of mouth is 100% free. Hope you all have a fantastic day. But most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.